Get ready to catch some nostalgia. This week, we're diving into Pokémon, the first movie, the film that made us all believe in the power of friendship, battles, and of course, Pikachu.
Welcome to the No More Late Fees podcast. I'm Danielle.
And I'm Jackie, and we're just two best friends and ex-Blockbuster employees rewatching some of the best and worst movies from the late 90s and early 2000s. This week, we're talking about Pokémon, the first movie, the 1998 film that brought the beloved franchise to theaters and made us all want to be Pokémon trainers. But before we dive in, let's get into some housekeeping. If you love the podcast and you want to support us, here are a few ways that you can.
If you enjoyed the podcast, don't forget to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Your reviews help us grow, and we love hearing from you.
And if you want exclusive content, including stickers, lives, GIFs, access to our Burned Out Spotify playlist, head on over to patreon.com/nomorelatefees and become a Patreon bestie.
Well, make sure to check out our No More Late Fees merch and with our nostalgic throwbacks and designs for every fan from that era. Make sure to visit nomorelatefees.redbubble.com to get yours.
So, Pokémon, the first movie. Ash and his friends are invited to a mysterious island to battle a genetically engineered Pokémon who seeks revenge against humanity. The story explores themes of friendship, identity, and compassion, making it more than just a simple Pokémon battle. Oh, and let's not forget that unforgettable Pikachu versus Pikachu moment. It stars Veronica Taylor as Ash, Geode as Mewtwo, Rachel Lillis as Misty, and Eric Stewart as Brock. It was directed by Kunihiko Uyama and Michael Hagney. It was written by Takashi Shudo, and you can currently watch it on Prime. But before we start, let's get into our ratings rewind.
So you know the drill. Before we get into any movie, we'll reveal the rating our Y2K versions of ourselves would give. Then at the end, we'll see if our current selves agree with the initial rating. Our scale consists of would buy it again,
the best, would play on repeat,
5-day rental,
would watch again,
2-day rental,
okay, but nothing to write home about,
and same-day rental.
It's like Team Rocket. It's trash.
All right, Jackie, let's start with your rating.
I watched a lot of the show. Johnny is 6 years younger than I am, so he was key demographic back in the late 90s and early 2000s, but I never watched the movie.
Well,
Yeah.
no surprise here. Now, we all know that I'm a Sailor Moon fan, but time periods, this was out of my time period. I had kids that I babysat that I knew were like really into this, and gun to head, if you told me to name three Pokemon, I would be dead because I didn't know. Now, fast forward to Jackie and I, grown-ass women in the streets, Pokemon hunting, because I got swept into the Pokemon craze. Not once, but twice, because there was a gap. When it first came out, I was doing it, and then I came to visit Jackie one year, and we were at the state capitol collecting Pokemon.
Gotta catch them all, Danielle.
Me, Jackie, her husband, and our friend Mark.
What a time to be alive.
And then immediately after, I was barely alive because I was really sick and I had to go to the hospital when I got home.
That was an unfortunate trip.
Yes.
But you powered through.
I powered through to Pokemon hunt, but not eat food.
Yeah.
I was sick and not eating. Anywho, I just want to make it clear, I've never seen the Pokemon movie. I don't know if I said that. Now, I will say, out of all the movies we watch on this show, I wasn't as annoyed as I've been with some of the other movies we had to watch. So big ups to Pokemon for not be. Although I was watching it, and so Shayla was like, I was at Shayla's when I was watching it. She was upstairs and she came down. She's like, "What? What are you watching?" And I was like, "Girl, Jackie got me out here watching this Pokemon."
The things we do for the podcast.
Well, the box office for this
Yes,
wonderful gem.
Jesus Christ, I just saw the worldwide growth.
Right. The budget for this movie was $5 million and it grossed worldwide $163.6 million. That is a lot of Pokemon card money. This first movie was the highest grossing anime film in the US until Demon Slayer broke the record in 2020. I don't know what Demon Slayer is.
I don't either.
I guess that's fine.
I know what a demon knight is, but I don't know what a
Yes.
demon slayer is.
Don't know, except Buffy. It held the record for the highest grossing opening for an animated film that debuted in November outside of the Thanksgiving holiday weekend. Very specific.
There's lots
Very
of
specific.
asterisks
Yeah.
with that.
And it surpassed Mortal Kombat as the highest grossing video game adaptation worldwide, which not really surprised. Look, I'm not hating on Mortal Kombat, and I'm actually very excited for when we have to do this because I'm gonna be like saying Street Fighter characters, and everyone's gonna be like, "That's not Mortal Kombat," because why not? Okay, so it was the movie was released with a short film called Pikachu's Vacation before the feature, and it gave fans a double dose of Pokemon goodness.
I was thinking that, like, as a parent, I would have been pissed if, like, I took my kids to the theater to see a movie, paid all the money, bought all the snacks, and the runtime was like an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm glad they added a couple extra episodes to, like, at least get us to the 90-minute mark.
Yeah, because it was pretty short.
It was.
So we'll talk about this more, but the English language adaptation for this movie, it was released in 99 while the original movie was released in 98. And there is some controversy about the translation to good old English, but really to the American population. And lastly, it has also sold 10 million home video units in the United States, including 4.2 million VHS sales that earned $58.8 million in the year 2000.
Crazy.
That, and I'm not surprised because we always knew we always knew a Pokemon kid when they came into the Blockbuster. Yeah. It was very apparent. And to think that a Pokemon kid is a Power Rangers kid, you're wildly mistaken. Sometimes there's crossover, but they're very two distinct camps.
Yes. I just had a dormant memory triggered, and it's a Blockbuster story.
Yay.
So when I very first started working at Blockbuster, there was this manager, and I want to say he was a couple years older than me. So like late teens, early 20s. And he dressed up as Ash Ketchum for Halloween. And then he just never stopped wearing the gloves, the fingerless gloves. Like he just wore them every day to work. And I never asked him about it.
Why? Like, that's the first thing I would have said. Why are you wearing those again?
Don't know. Yeah. I just remembered that he always wore those fingerless gloves, but it was only after he dressed up as Ash for Halloween.
Because it was a part of his plan. He's like, how can I incorporate these gloves? Because Blockbuster was very strict about our like, I say costume, but uniform. And by the way, I don't know if I've ever talked about it, but I fucking hated our uniform. It was not helpful for my figure in any way. No. Like I could not, I could pull a guy, but I couldn't pull a guy, like I'm in this frumpy blue, which is not my color. Again, I can rock about any color, but blue just wasn't. And khaki pants that go up to my navel. I couldn't even wear like jegging kinds, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Nightmare.
Yeah. And like the thick polyester
That thing was
collared
itchy.
shirt, they were itchy, they were gross. And then you had to tuck your shirt in. So also not doing anything for my figure. And I'm like, I am bending over, stretching, like I am getting a full body workout every day at work,
Yeah.
putting movies away, and like still have to wear that itchy, heavy ass shirt. And then there would be other employees that ran hot. And so they would crank down the AC. So then I'd be freezing.
Yeah.
And so that's why I secretly ordered, once I was a manager and had access, I would order myself long sleeve shirts, which we were not supposed to do. But I didn't give a
Why
shit.
why could you order them if you weren't supposed to do it?
I think they were supposed to be only for like northern states
Right.
that actually get
Which
cold.
it's just so stupid. Like, I know it's some random ass man who
Yeah.
makes these rules because they don't think about any kind of other circumstances. Because, like, why does it matter? Why does my arm meat need to be out for it to matter what I'm wearing?
Yeah.
But oh god, I hated that outfit so much that I didn't. I think that's why I didn't keep my shirts, because when it was over, I was ready to burn those motherfucking shirts to the
Yeah.
ground.
I think I only have the one I have because it was like buried somewhere else.
Yeah.
And so it didn't get tossed with the rest of them. Yeah.
Also, we had to buy our shirts if we wanted more than
Yep.
two, I think.
Yeah.
So that was the other thing. Like, after a while, the blue starts to fade, and then you have to go buy more shirts. So it's like, am I in a pyramid scheme where I'm giving money to have a job? That's what it feels.
And when people left, they asked them to return their shirts.
Bitch, fuck off. You're not taking my secondhand shirt.
And so there would be just a pile of like faded old other person worn shirts in the back. It was so bizarre. And that wasn't even because we had a really thrifty boss.
Are you talking about Joy or
Yeah.
Mike? Joy.
He would pick up a staple off of the counter and be like, this cost me 25 cents.
Oh
Stop
my
wasting my
god.
he would give us one pen to share for signing receipts because we lost too many pens. Like he had so many
But
arbitrary rules to save money. I'm like, bro.
before we get into the cast and crew and the rest of the fun facts, let's hear a message from our pod pals.
When's the last time you watched a Disney Channel original movie?
I'm Gabby,
And I'm Natalie, and this is Once Upon a Teacup, the podcast where we rave
and sometimes Rose,
all of your favorite Disney Channel original movies.
from the 90s to today.
With classics like High School Musical and The Cheetah Girls.
We'll dive into all of the iconic moments, cheesy one-liners, and of course the questionable fashion choices from years gone by.
And we don't hold back from the real discussions either. What did Smart House predict about AI? And what can Halloween Town teach us about being a female icon?
If you're all about the nostalgia and ready for a rewatch, you'll love Once Upon a Decom.
Now streaming on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music. New episodes every single Tuesday.
So, cast and crew, we did get a director cameo. Michael Hagney was the voice of the system when Ash, Misty, and Brock entered the Fairy Center. And originally, this film was supposed to introduce a new Pokemon named Gopher. Very creative name. Gopher, this is the oddest ability I have ever heard. Gopher was able to inflate his lower stomach in order to float up to higher ground. Was he an air balloon Pokemon?
I don't know.
So ultimately, the Pokemon Company decided against using this Pokemon in any of their films or games, because they felt it was too comical and didn't add anything to the competitive balance.
Right. It's like, watch my Ozempic work. Like, what the fuck? Oh, so
Okay.
weird. Let's get into this movie where I have lots of questions.
I don't have answers for you.
But the questions will be asked nonetheless.
So we are shown a lab, and there is a specimen of Pokemon floating in like this big glass tube. And he becomes, or he awakens, and he's like having these internal discussions with himself, which always come back to, what is my purpose? Like
the Me Too movement. This is where Happy was born.
What is my purpose? And then he becomes pissed because he's been created in a lab. They found DNA of the ancient Mew Pokemon, and so they genetically modify it to create Mewtwo, who is the most powerful Pokemon of all time. He is a psychic Pokemon, but still he's having a
existential crisis. But just to give it some layers, so as English viewers, we kind of got fucked over, right?
Yes.
So the Japanese version of this film, it received very positive reviews from critics. Especially, it got praise for that the film's emotional impact and exploration of ethical topics such as cloning, genetic modification, and existentialism. However, the English language version received negative reviews from film critics. It had a lot to do with the poorly dubbed voice acting because the animators were having a hard time with, the language maybe when it was translated to English maybe being longer. So that was an issue, as well as the inclusion of anti-violence message, despite the overall concept of what the series is, which is a bunch of these animals fighting each other, and after you release them from a cage that's a ball. I also have questions about that. Does the ball have like a little living room? Is it like the TARDIS where it's bigger on the inside than the outside? Like,
I've never
what's
gotten
going
clarity on the Pokeball, and Ken came in towards the beginning where Pikachu has a bowl of food and he's chowing down. He's like, but what about all the other Pokemon that are in balls? How do they get fed? I'm like, I don't know.
Pikachu is always out. Like, it's giving favorite child.
Pikachu hates the ball, and so he pretty much refuses to go in it. That's why he's always out.
Anywho,
Pikachu is a diva.
Very much so. Further retrospective criticism of the English language version has been targeted against the removal of most of the ethical topics from the Japanese version of the film, such as the part of Me Too's. I know it's meow. Is it meow? Mew?
It's Mew.
Mew. I'm just gonna say Me Too. Mewtwo's origin story. So like when they removed these elements from the English version, it left Mewtwo seeming very cold and like he's just a villain for no reason. But he's
almost like he's seeking revenge.
Right.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, he's trying to find his purpose. He's trying to understand why he's here, which is, I think, every human being feels the same way. And then also trying to understand that he's not an original, that he's been cloned. And
not even cloned, but like genetically modified.
Right. Like,
so he's like he's an abomination to nature.
Right. There's nobody else like him. So he doesn't even have the bond to be able to bond with other species.
Yeah.
So that is just some stuff. But like you were saying, he is having this awakening, and then all the scientists around him, as he's floating in this glass, are just so happy that they have made a scientific breakthrough, but not the consequences of like, this is a higher being in the sense that like it's psychic, it can understand, it can speak. and so on.
And it has more power than you cannot control this creature you've created.
Right.
I kept saying Mewtwo needs a Magneto helmet.
Right. Well, no, everybody else, well, yeah, everyone else does, because he would be the Charles Xavier in this particular situation, because
I guess,
he's
yeah.
psychic. Let me not get nerdy on you.
Okay.
I'm nerdy in different genres. Yeah.
So yeah, Mewtwo breaks out, he disappears, and then we're introduced to Ash and gang, and then they are informed of like this.
So they're invited to this tournament,
Thank
right?
you.
Yeah.
Yes.
But before that even happened, like the thing about Mewtwo, like he didn't just leave, like he roasted everybody, all the scientists, he killed them.
Yep.
And then it's just like a weird thing transition that happens where all of a sudden he's in an armored suit with some man telling him that they're going to work together. And I'm like, where the fuck did this man come from? He's like, come with me and I'll help you. I don't know. It was super weird. And then he finds out the man is just trying to control him. And he's like, you were built for me. Mega maniacal situation here. And he's like, ah, nah, fuck that. And he breaks through his like thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that happened first, because then he goes to plotting to make that tournament, right?
Yeah.
But I understand like us missing it, because it's just like, it was so weird, Jackie. It was like, what's happening? Where did this man come from?
And according to my chat GPT notes, so it could have made this up. Listeners confirm, please. Giovanni is the name of the man he meets. And apparently Giovanni is the shady boss of Team Rocket.
That could be. He seemed like a big bad, but then he's never addressed, like we never see him again.
Yeah.
And then Team Rocket, I knew of, like I never again really watched a Pokemon episode, but I knew of them because of the Pokemon game, and I've seen them, and it's just
prepare for trouble and make it double.
I don't know what it is about these Japanese shows where they always have like a big villain, but then there's like these lower level villains that are consistently there, but they get nowhere. Kind of like Zed and Rita on Power Rangers.
Murky and Lurky from Rainbow Bright.
It's just like, what are you doing? So Team Rocket is similar, and they have a Pokemon too that they have. He's out all the time too. He's never in the balls.
Yes.
So can you explain their motivation? Like, are they trainers as well? Like, what's their obsession with Ash and Pikachu?
Well, I think so. This is all speculation because I don't have an answer for your question. But I think they know Pikachu is special because Pikachu can kind of communicate with his people, which Meowth can also do with Team Rocket. Meowth fucking talks. Like he's the only Pokemon that actually talks. But Pikachu has a way of communicating with Ash. And I don't know what their beef with Ash is, but I think it's just like, yeah, they're trying to collect like the more unique Pokemon or like the really strong Pokemon, I'm assuming, to give to Giovanni.
I'm typing in what is Team Rocket's motivation. Let's see what comes up. Okay, while its main focus is stealing or capturing rare and strong Pokemon and subsequently selling them, it also funds and conducts cruel experimental research on Pokemon. At times, it has even killed Pokemon. Their oath, as posted on the wall of one of their many bases, is steal Pokemon for profit.
Okay.
That sucks.
So I was right.
Yeah, you were.
Look at me knowing things.
They're the devil. And somebody wrote, when I watched the Pokemon series, I was confused at what Team Rocket actually was. Are they mad scientists and Pokemon transhumanist? Are they criminals and petty crooks who want power? Are they generic villains? What motive could they possibly have for what they do? And uh, somebody wrote motivated by money, the ideology known as mafia.
Oh, so Team Rocket's part of the mafia.
Also known as cream. Cash rules everything around me.
I don't care for that.
Wu-Tang Clan. Uh, oh man. These answers are hilarious. I will look at them another time, but
Okay.
I was very confused. And also, one of the girl with the red hair,
Yeah,
how
Jesse.
what kind of mousse gel is she using to have that swirly pop thing at the end of her hair stick up as so? I ain't never seen that before. Not on
I'm
a
telling
white lady.
you.
Okay.
So we see, like, it's just a cutaway scene to the bottom of the ocean. And this little kitty cat is sitting in a bubble, just happy as can be, floating to the surface. So we know that Mew isn't really extinct. He was just chilling in his bubble at the bottom of the sea.
Like Avatar. I love that show so much. Sorry.
So now Mew is just floating around. We just get cutaway shots of him zooming through the sky. We don't know where he's going, what he's doing, but he's got the zoomies. Ash and friends go to the very creatively named New Island, or they're attempting to get to New Island to go and be a part of that battle that they were invited to. But there is a crazy storm. And so they're all like in the ferry station, and everyone is kind of like, there are very few people that are willing to try and brave the storm to get out to New Island. Also, there is a missing nurse. Brock is fucking horny as shit because every female he encounters, he's like, hey, ah, ooh. I'm like, what is your deal, Brock? And he has no eyes. He never has any eyes.
No, because I also find it weird that
Like Ash
this is
and
taking
Misty
place.
have eyes,
Yeah, I don't.
and the
What's his name?
nurses have eyes.
Brock?
Brock.
Okay. Pokemon. Because it's super weird. I'm putting eyes. See what comes up. Why the hell are Brock's eyes always closed? Why are his eyes always closed? Does the man have some type of condition, or does his eyes contain a hidden power? Somebody wrote, it's a trope called fox eyes, and it's often used in anime to show that a character is wise, experienced, and can be relied upon.
Not
And
Brock.
somebody said, I just thought Brock was ripped from smoking that hoppy up. Yeah, hear me. You heard me? Okay, sorry. It took me a second. He's a ditto in disguise. The real Brock raised him and died from an illness. What?
So Ditto is a shape-shifting Pokemon that takes the shape of any other person or Pokemon.
Oh, I read somewhere in a book about manga that the closed eyes is a racist stereotype of Koreans in Japanese
Shit.
anime/manga. Thus, Brock is supposed to be Korean, while the typical anime character is Japanese.
Fuck, man.
Anime character designs are stereotypes of Western people: big eyes, nose, mouth.
Justice for Brock, then.
Fuck. I knew it was something,
Yeah.
but glad good old Reddit had something. Tell us if you know if that's not accurate, but okay, now we know.
Yeah.
Damn.
So now they're going across the sea because they're like, we have Pokemon that are water Pokemon. They can get us there.
But not these fools. They ain't got no
No.
big Pokemon.
No, and they take a boat ride from a very thinly veiled Team Rocket.
Right. Like, who? It's not even that one, you randomly in the storm are in this boat.
Yeah.
Two, why do you sound like you are
German.
They're Viking. They're supposed to be Vikings.
Yeah, but they sound German, and
They
they
do
say
sound German.
Farfignugan at one point.
I thought they said they were from like Finland or some random weird thing. But like, you guys should know by now that Team Rocket is always on your jock. You should know what they look like. How dumb
And
are you?
there is a joke that like I didn't get. Sadly, I had to
Yeah.
read it on IMDb, but they're like asking them where they're from, and they said whatever Scandinavian countries they said, and then Ash goes, "Oh, I thought they lived in Minnesota," which is because the football team is the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, it was super random. And then like they can't even survive the sea and they fall out and then they realize it's Team Rocket. So then now they're like drowning and Misty pulls a star Pokemon, I guess, that can
Staryu.
swim. And saves Brock. And then Ash is with his Squirtle. His Squirtle is saving him and Pikachu.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it doesn't even seem like they swim that far away, but like
Yeah.
all of a sudden they're right there. I'm like, where was this island?
Also, something before they left the island, when they're still in the ferry station with the girl that's like, "Don't go out there. This is the worst storm I've seen ever." She tells some sort of story about how all the Pokemon cried one time and like cleared up the weather or something. Like she told some sort of story that was way more prolific in the Japanese version and was like a throwaway line in this movie.
Oh. Now I
But
want to
then,
watch the Japanese version.
yeah, I was thinking that too. But then, like, it comes back around in the end when all of the Pokemon cry
Right.
and it brings Ash back to life. Spoiler
Yeah.
alert.
Because I was like, that your boy dead.
He's made of stone.
He's about to be Ash. Somebody step on him.
And ChatGPT, in the description of this scene, decided to throw its opinion in there.
Mm.
These kids are just the worst at following warnings about dangerous weather.
No lies.
Yeah.
But yeah, they find themselves on the island and then they run into, I don't know, a lady of the night saying, "Oh, my master has been waiting for you and you can come, join the rest of the people, rest of the trainers." And there's only 3 other people and they realize that them surviving the storm was a test because when Mewtwo was sitting in their chair doing this with their 3 little finger nubs, I don't know what you call it, to make the storm happen, was hilarious. Because I'm like, all right, wait a minute. Is Mewtwo an X-Men? Because he has psychic abilities like Jean Grey and Dr. Charles Xavier. He can fly and control the weather, or they can, because I'm not sure if it's a he, she. So I'm going to say they. They can fly and control the weather like Storm.
Yep.
I'm just saying, like, what else? What else? Shoots out like sparkly things like Jubilee.
Yeah.
One of the
Can
bubbles.
didn't he turn Ash to stone?
I don't know if the Ash came
Was it
between
him?
both of them, so both Mewtwo and Mew1. I don't know what
Just Mew.
Mew Mew.
Mew Mew.
But yeah, interesting. So yeah, now they meet. And Mewtwo is so dramatic. You want to
So
talk about an
dramatic.
entrance? That entrance took forever. Like first of all, did he build this island or make the fixtures because that spiraling thing that he had to, or sorry, they had to ascend
I have no clue.
or descend down? Like, I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
And yeah.
it's all very strange. There's lots of running and never really getting anywhere. It does really feel like they're just running in circles
Yeah.
a lot of the time. So Mewtwo reveals his big plan is to collect all of the Pokemon from all of the trainers that showed up and create clones of them and create like super Pokemon.
You know what I would have appreciated more for him to say to the Pokemon, y'all need to free yourselves. These people should not be capturing you and
Yes.
training you. Let's free, like, no clones, whatever, but let's free you. And
Yeah.
using his psychic ability to turn on his Pokemon for them to attack
Yes.
them. And then Pikachu being the only one true of heart, down for Ash for whatever, fighting them off, and like his lightning kind of whipping them out of the psychic trance. And then you would be more of like, okay, I get where like he's an anti-hero, he's a villain, but I get it because he's just trying to free the animals. He doesn't understand them not being free after his
'cause
experience.
He tells them like you're all enslaved
Right.
and like, but he like blames the Pokemon like they had
Right.
any fucking choice. They were just out playing in a field and then all of a sudden got bonked in the head with a Pokeball and is sitting
Yeah.
in like a genie lamp for the rest of their lives.
Right. It's not their fault
Yeah.
per se, but what he does instead is said, I'm going to capture y'all, take your DNA, make better versions of you, and then have them beat you up.
Yes.
Bro, I'm in slavery. I don't need to be beaten up. Get these kids, unsupervised children.
And I would have appreciated if like, could we make them a different color or something when they're like the supercharged Pokemon?
Yeah.
Like make them slightly different so that
They
like
put spots on them or something. It was weird. I thought they were sweat stains.
yeah, like it was really weird. But
But
like yeah, and so but Ash is like Pikachu fucking run. And like Pikachu's trying his damnedest and then he gets sucked into the machine and Ash goes in the machine and is fighting the machine like you are not taking my fucking Pikachu.
first and foremost, does Pikachu have asthma? And Pikachu is the only Pokemon who's out like all the time, but you out of shape, bruh? Why are you breathing so hard?
Did he go because he does that a lot.
He was like he was
Well, I
having
mean, he's
this
got
hard
tiny
time.
little legs.
And then every time he's lightning, the boy was tired. He was tired.
He's trying his damnedest.
If I was any other of Ash's Pokemon, I would be very upset because what's this, bro? You didn't go hard for none of the other ones. I didn't see you go into the machine for Squirtle. So you
Ride
got
together, they
fucked
die
up
together.
right now. Nah. But you're right. He does get Pikachu. And I love that Team Rocket in this whole thing, they somehow have made it to the island and they're just watching this shit. They find the secret lair of where he can like make these clones. And so now he has the clones, but then when Ash breaks that machine, he's able to get the original. So they all come downstairs. And I'm just like, what's with all this talk, Mewtwo? If you about this shit or not, like, whoop everybody's ass and call it a day. Like,
Yeah.
what's with all these monologues and shit? Wrap it up already. You just be talking.
Yeah. So now all the Pokemon are fighting each other, except for Pikachu. Pikachu refuses to fight. So then clone Pikachu is like, I'll fight, and like zaps him.
Talk about the slaps, the bitch slaps. Because I think it's like the platypus looking one that's, or the duck. I don't know what that is.
Golduck.
Yeah, that slaps the shit out of the other. Like, it's a bona fide pimp slap. And then Pikachu's clone does the same shit. And you just see like a single tear running down Pikachu's face. Like, what is going on? this is wild. And also, why are the clones fighting their clones? Why not fight another different Pokemon?
Yeah, because if you know anything about Pokemon, like I do, you don't fight like fire with fire. It's like
Right.
water is.
Opposites.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I don't know why the clones are just infighting. And then, like you said, Mew shows up and starts like fighting with Mewtwo. And then
Where did he come from? Where did Mew come from?
I told you, a bubble under the sea. He's just been chilling.
Oh, you know what? When you said that, I was thinking about Mewtwo. I must have missed this part where he was sitting in the water because I'm like, where the fuck did this
It
cat
happened at
thing
the
come
very
from?
beginning of the movie, and it's a very short scene, but it's just like
Oh,
he rises up in his little bubble that he's been chilling in since the
the dawn
Egyptian
of
times, I
okay.
guess.
Interesting. And then when he comes out, he's just like, I'm telling you, Avatar, he's just like Aang. He comes out of the water, he's just happy go lucky, having a
Yep.
good time, not trying to be about that, real fighting stuff. He's just like, oh, let's play. And that's the vibes that it gives, that he's
Yep.
just playing around at first. But then Mewtwo is like, fuck you. And then shit gets serious.
Yeah. And then Ash gets in the middle of it and
Mm.
gets turned to stone. And all of the Pokemon start crying because Pikachu is trying to revive him, and it's very sad.
Yeah, it was touch and go. I was like, yo, are they gonna have the balls to kill a kid during this movie?
The main character of Pokemon.
Ashes to ashes.
So then that's where that one throwaway line at the beginning comes back to play because Pokemon tears can bring people back from stone, apparently. So then Ash is all better, and that's when Mewtwo has a change of heart that says he realizes that being a dictator isn't as fun as he thought.
Lies. I believe it's a wonderful thing.
But he realizes that everyone can find their purpose and coexist. And
Heal the
not everything has
world, make it a better place
for you and for me
and the whole Pokemon race. I see children crying.
and turn to stone.
Make it a better place for you and Pikachu.
Beautiful.
Thanks.
And he also monologues about how fighting is not the way to solve things. Bitch, have you seen Pokemon, the TV show? Because that's all we be doing.
That's the American version, and apparently the Japanese didn't be bringing all that shit. Fighting is a part of life.
So at the end, Ash and team are back at the docks.
He also wipes their fucking
yes.
memories.
Yeah. So they have no clue what has just happened, that Pokemon tears are magic and can bring you back to life, that the actual Mew is not extinct and has been just dormant in a bubble.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just go on their merry way, ready for the next adventure.
Can we talk about how he was ready to smoke the nurse at one point? Like he was like, "Oh, you served your purpose. I don't need you anymore." And he didn't even say he was gonna wipe her memory. He's like, "Oh, you're gonna be dead." Like he said he was gonna kill her.
Yeah. And Brock was like, "No, I
Right.
recognize her. She's the hot nurse from the fairy place or whatever."
Yeah, they don't know how they got there, and they're just like, "Okay, well, it is what it is." And then they're like, "Oh, the storm is gone." First of all, why was the storm still brewing? The Mewtwo wasn't doing the things anymore. Oh my god.
Well, that's Pokemon the first movie.
The Pokemon 2000 movie started playing right after, and I was like, "Oh, end credit scenes," because I didn't know it had started, and I was like, "Wait, what's happening? This seems like a whole new plot."
I forgot about the part at the end where all the clones just fly away.
Yeah. Like, okay.
Yeah. I hope I answered some of your questions.
Yeah. Yeah, we got some answers. Let's see what fun facts we missed. What we got.
Um,
Producers and director Michael Hagney had trouble matching animated lip movements. The script was written twice to ensure all dialogue matched up. They said they were very happy Mewtwo was a psychic Pokemon because his mouth rarely moved. Oh, so it is a he? Okay. Which saved them work for making dialogue match his mouth movements.
okay. Michael Hagney said that the opening segment was inspired by a bath he took.
I don't
Okay.
I don't have words for that.
I guess inspiration strikes anywhere.
I kind of feel like that didn't need to be said, sir, ever.
No.
So we know that most of these animated films or children's movies have some sort of tie-in with a toy, right?
Mhm.
So Burger King had a Pokemon ball toy and it was recalled. On December 11, 1999, a 13-month-old Kira Murphy from California actually passed away when half of her Pokeball toy became stuck over her mouth and nose, causing her to suffocate. She was later found deceased in her playpen.
Oh, how terrible.
And then 12 days later, a second child in Kansas survived the similar incident. So on December 28th, 1999, Burger King issued a recall of the toys. Adults were urged to discard or return both pieces of the toy. Customers returning the toy were given a small order of French fries in return, and nearly a month after the recall, another child suffocated from the toy. The dead children's families settled their lawsuits on undisclosed terms. How did they miss the recall? And I
Maybe
just feel like, go
they
ahead.
thought it wasn't gonna happen to them, you know.
I think they do a lot more work now to like make sure that they do put the ages on the toys.
Mhm.
And I think
They also have like 3 little holes. If it's
right.
anything like that shape, they typically have 3 little breathing holes so that it
Yeah.
doesn't get suction to the face.
Oh, so sad. So sad, so sad.
The original DVD release with the snap case contains numerous features that were removed from later reprints, such as the origin prologue and the Pikachu's Vacation short film. Other options, such as Dolby Digital 5.1 sound, has been removed, leaving only the 2.0 stereo mix available among other features.
That means that original one's probably worth a lot.
Yeah, I'll have to keep an eye out for it.
The American edit of the film contained CGI effects that were not included in the Japanese cut, and some of these included the realistic looking clouds.
Okay, so I am a connoisseur of the Pokemon theme song.
Okay.
It fucking slaps.
Yeah.
I could not sing along because they changed
the beat.
the tune
Yeah.
in this movie. And so I'm there, I'm trying to sing along. It's not happening. And I was so upset. Also, I've seen people at weddings just randomly play the Pokemon theme song, and it hits every time. Like the entire crowd is just singing along. I'm gonna be the very best, like no one ever was.
If you're not watching this video, just know I'm just staring.
To catch them is my real test. To train them is my cause. I will travel across the land, searching far and wide. Each Pokemon to understand the power that's inside. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all. I know it's my destiny. You teach me and I'll teach you Pokemon. That wasn't the whole thing. I cut it up for you. my favorite parts.
It was the remix.
It was the remix. You're welcome.
Well, the Pokemon cards given away in movie theaters for the US of A release of the film were Electabuzz, Pikachu, Mewtwo, and Dragonite. The home video release included Mewtwo trading cards as well.
Nice. A narrator and Mewtwo's voice were added in the American version's first segment to help better explain the movie to people who may not have had much knowledge of Pokemon. For example, parents who took their children to see the movie. That did not help. Like, I don't recall anything that was helpful about understanding what Pokemon are.
I don't know anything that was going on. All right. So if you have any feedback on today's episode, or you are a diehard Pokemon fan and we got a lot of shit wrong, no problems, no problemo. Hit us up at No More Late Fees on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, and Threads. And all right, Jackie, what was your present day rating?
I'm going to go 2-day rental. I'd much rather just watch the series. This didn't slap for me.
Got it. I'll say 2-day as well, because again, it was an easy watch. I didn't know what the fuck was going on, but I didn't hate it either.
I just had a thought. And so I need the assistance of our listeners.
No.
I would like to compose the entire Pokemon theme song by people calling in and singing it, and then we'll splice different people singing it together and create the whole thing, and it'll be so amazing. So if you'd like to join us in on that fun, hit us up at 909-601-6653. You can also tweet us at the Twitters, hem us at the Threads. You can text us at that number, and hopefully you will be featured on a future episode singing the Pokemon theme song.
You know what? I'm not gonna yuck no one's yum.
Danielle, what movie are we watching next week?
Oh, well, it's out cold, Jackie. That's what it is. Jackie has finally done it, everybody. We are doing Out Cold next week, so make sure you don't miss it.
King of the Mountain. And as always, be kind and rewind.